Hi guys, welcome to today's video, and new subscribers, you're really welcome to our really amazing family of subscribers since the very beginning. Guys, today I'd like to talk about Jezebel and Jezebel's puppets, and it's a video I've wanted to make for quite some time, and I just wanted to get cross all my T's and dot all my I's so that I really felt that I could give you a good video on this. So I'd like to start it off by saying that you've met Jezebel. We've all, if we're watching these videos, have had a run-in with Jezebel at some stage, or we're still dealing with Jezebel. And the strange thing is, it's the same person we're all dealing with. It's the same spirit. I'm going to talk a little bit about who Jezebel is in a few minutes, but what I'll say to you is, leave a comment in the comments if you believe you have seen the spirit of Jezebel in someone or multiple people that you've been dealing with. So Jezebel. I really thought about Jezebel, because if you know the spirit of Jezebel, you will recognize any narcissist you come across in your life, or you'll recognize that you've been with a narcissist. Jezebel uses people as her puppets. She puts the spirit of herself or himself, it can be either, into people and works through them. Jezebel, I've discovered, is in all religions. I mean, we normally talk here from, I suppose, a Christian point of view. I was brought up in Christianity, but I've spoken to other people because I was curious. I said, is this just a Christian thing that we have a Jezebel in our Bible? And no, it's not. And I've spoken to a gorgeous subscriber here who's Muslim and asked her that question. And she said, no. Jezebel is in the Quran as well. It's just that it goes under a different name, that spirit. And they have, I hope this is right now, Shaitan, I think is the word for Satan. And Jezebels on earth in the Quran or in the Muslim religion are called jinns. So that got me thinking, and I haven't really researched any other religions, it just happened at the time too. But that got me thinking, if all religions recognize this spirit and from ancient times have preached against this spirit, and they all say the same thing about this spirit, and the people who have this spirit in them all act in the same way, follow the same patterns, and do the same things to people, that's a lot of proof that this spirit exists, is the same spirit, and is a very powerful spirit, and works in the same way, and is defeatable, hugely defeatable, because it's recognizable and it follows the same patterns. So that got me even more interested. So we'll just go into a little bit of the history in relation to Jezebel and Christianity. So Jezebel was a Phoenician princess who married King Ahab, who was the king of Israel at the time, a very powerful king and who had a very powerful army and a very powerful economy. And Jezebel was a pagan princess who worshipped pagan gods, who worshipped the god Baal, apparently. She was into black magic. She worshipped anything evil. I'll give you the characteristics of Jezebel and just see if you recognize this in any of the people that you've been dealing with. So the two main characteristics in Jezebel would be that she was highly manipulative, and Jezebel wanted complete and total authority over everyone and in every situation. Recognize anyone there? Okay, so the other characteristics would be that she was cruel, evil, not loyal, highly manipulative, told lies, and committed evil offences. She actually had murder committed in her name, and any bad deed you can think of, it would be a characteristic of Jezebel. Cruelty is another huge one. Who did Jezebel come after? Jezebel targeted all the prophets and religious leaders and people who followed good lives, but mainly the prophets in Israel, because she knew if she hit at them that she would have total power and control. And that led me to thinking, when we ask ourselves, why me? Like, why do narcissists come to me? Why are they so attracted to you? And I would propose that the Jezebel spirit attacks, not saying we're all prophets today, but attacks people who are high in the desire to do good and put good out there in the world, who are high in the exact opposite characteristics of the Jezebel spirit. So there's an awful lot of answers to be found in ancient scripture. There's an awful lot of wisdom there. And really all our modern day answers, questions that we're asking, I believe are answered if we study the Jezebel spirit. First of all, we find out the characteristics of a narcissist. Second of all, we find out what drives them. Third of all, we find out what is their battle plan. And 4, we find out how to defeat them. So Jezebel manipulated everyone else to get her agendas accomplished. She would set people against each other. She would lie about people. She would basically wind people up like mechanical toys and set them against each other. King Ahab, her husband, allowed her to practice even human sacrifice. He allowed her to do exactly what she wanted in his kingdom, even though he was not pagan. He followed God, or was purported to follow God. And that got me thinking as well. Why did he let her do that? Why did he suffer her? And the interesting answer I came up with was, there was one time when King Ahab wanted a piece of his neighbour's land, or wanted all of it. And he wasn't able to obtain that because the neighbour didn't want to sell it to him. So he stood back and again let Jezebel do exactly as she wanted, and she had this neighbour killed. So Ahab received the land by doing nothing but following the Jezebel spirit and allowing his wife to do as she wanted. So if we're with one of Jezebel's puppets, and I believe that she works through people, we need to take a stand against this. We need not to allow them to work through other people. We need not to stay silent. We need to speak out, but we need to do that in a way that's effective. Jezebel worked other people to do her bidding. She never, and I say she, it's a he spirit as well. It's a spirit. It's a manipulating spirit. It's a cruel spirit. It's a spirit that wants total authority over you. Jezebel works through other people, so that spirit is never accountable for the vile deeds that they have other people do for them on their behalf. And this is another way we can recognize the Jezebel spirit. The narcissist is never accountable for any wrongdoing, even if the wrongdoing seems to come from him or her. It's always somebody else who's to blame. Jezebel is very covert. Jezebel works quietly but effectively and very succinctly. with very destructive, vile outcomes. The key to Jezebel's success is that Jezebel, and I've said this in other videos, the Jezebel spirit that's in the people that we call narcissists works on the human element of us, of you. And Jezebel sees the human element as a weakness. So Jezebel has a silent weapon that you don't see coming. We don't see coming. The weapon Jezebel uses against us is our emotion. So Jezebel knows very well that she or he can stir up emotion in us. And they've studied us in order to go in at us as effectively as possible, to know what our triggers are and what our low points are, and to work on our self-esteem and self-doubt. They also know the people around us and the triggers that they can use with them. And once they get us into an emotional state where we're reacting and not thinking about our reactions, we're much easier to manipulate. And Jezebel causes and loves and thrives on drama and chaos, and seeing people in pain, and knowing that the puppet that Jezebel used has caused that pain. And that brings the power and success in the Jezebel spirit, in the puppet, the narcissist. Jezebel works on cold, clear logic. That's the weapon that Jezebel uses against you. Jezebel sits back. Jezebel plans and strategizes. Jezebel whispers in your friend's ear, in your family's ear, in your employer's ear, in your ear, in everyone's ear. But it's never Jezebel's doing, because Jezebel gets you and me and everyone else to react and to go against each other. And Jezebel stands back. And Jezebel has the authority then over a group of people. And that's who Jezebel is. And that's the Jezebel spirit that's in the narcissist that you were dealing with and I was dealing with. So the way to fight the Jezebel spirit is to take a step back, to recognize who you're with, to look at the characteristics of the person that you're with or that you were dealing with in the past or that you still have to deal with. Accept who they are. Don't make excuses for their actions. You can pray for them. You can hope that they will change their ways. But see what you're seeing. See a red flag. See what the person has done. Look at the action. And if there's quite a few of the Jezebel spirit characteristics in this person, be very careful. Be very, very careful. Do not let Jezebel have authority over you. Jezebel is coming for you because, like in the old days, you stand for everything that Jezebel hates. You're loyal, you're loving, you want to help someone, you're strong and you're kind, you're generous, you believe in people, you believe in family, you believe in everyone having their own authority and their own right to exist and do the best they can in life. You hate destruction, you hate cruelty, you hate all things Jezebel. The way to defeat Jezebel is to use the weapon that Jezebel uses against you, to stand back, to hold your emotions in check, to accept and see what's happening, and to react in a logical way just as strongly against Jezebel. So speak out when it's appropriate, but don't do it in an emotional way. Don't react and run at someone who says something to you that Jezebel has whispered in their ear. Take your time. There is something to be said about revenge is a dish best tasted cold. There's a reason that is a saying. And when I'm talking about revenge, I would say more avenge. Because these people with the Jezebel spirit need to be avenged in relation to what they're putting out there in this world and in life. Because there's some very worrying trends even in the political scene today, even recently. In political campaigns, I'm not going to actually say what I've seen. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. But there's a campaign, a worldwide campaign going on at the moment. And the way the other person, the opponent of this person, is being portrayed and characterized, in my opinion, is highly manipulative, highly degrading, highly disrespectful, and full of the Jezebel spirit. Yet today some people are actually enjoying it and thinking it's good and accepting it. Whereas years ago, this is how bad we've gotten with the Jezebel spirit. This is how far it's gotten in the last few years. Years ago, people would be abhorred at such type of advertising and campaigning. So the Jezebel spirit has very much taken hold and very much needs to be fought against. But in order to achieve victory against Jezebel, we need to know who we're fighting, what we're fighting, and what weapons are being used against us so we can match the weapon to weapon. We're far stronger, we're far more complex. You're far more complex because kindness and love is a much more complex emotion than hate and cruelty. It's much harder to achieve. A person has to work on themselves to be able to be in this state. It's a higher state, it's on a higher vibration. And once you know the low life that you're dealing with, it's very, very easy to defeat. It's just getting the knowledge, and it's just using wisdom, and it's using the basic tool that this Jezebel puppet is using against you to use against them. Guys, I think that's about it for today. I hope that was a good portrayal or an explanation of Jezebel that runs through all religions. All good people are fighting jinns and Jezebels, and this spirit has come down to earth and is embedded in different people, and we need to see it and recognize it for what it is. It's called a personality disorder by the psychologists. It's called Jezebel by Christians. It's called Jinn by Muslims. Whatever religion you are, if you have a name for what I call Jezebel, please let me know down in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, guys. We're going to do this. We've got this. We're getting the knowledge. We know what we're fighting against now. So it's a no-brainer. Take really good care of yourselves. Until I see you next time. Bye.